May I have a motion to return the regular board meeting to public session? Ms. Blackinger, second. Dr. Singh, all in favor? Motion carried unanimously. I call the regular board meeting to order. All board members are present. Ms. Poulin, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be advised that in the event of a fire emergency and an evacuation should be necessary, an alarm will sound. Please note all marked emergency exits and evacuate well away from the building. At this time, we request that everyone turn their cell phones and other electronic devices to silent. Thank you. 2F. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as presented? Ms. Poulin, second. Ms. Blackinger, any discussion? All in favor?
All in favor?
All in favor? Thank you. Motion carries unanimously. Item number 3. Dr. Brown Hall, I will turn it over to you to talk about some acknowledgements and recognition.
Thank you very much, President McCleary. So tonight marks the return of the District Art Show, which for the past several years has taken place virtually due to the COVID-19 pandemic. As you entered the boardroom, you were able to see some of the elaborate and creative pieces our students created. To share more about this year's art show, I want to welcome up to the podium Ms. Jamie Pitnell, the Director of Arts for the district.
Hello, good evening.
Hello.
Thank you so much for having us here tonight. Oh, yep. We are back, and I am going to need a new slogan for next year. But the art show is back in person for the first time since 2019, which we are very excited about. It also has a new home this year. We've partnered with the Amherst Main Library, the Audubon branch, just right over here on John Jay Audubon Parkway. And something that's new and really exciting is our show will run for 2 full weeks and will be open to the public for all of the regular library hours. So our students had their opening night last night, our elementary students. We had over 600 people come through, which was very exciting. The energy was very, couple of our people here were there last night. Thank you so much for coming. But the energy was high, the students were excited. And one of the really cool moments is when you go, there is at the receptions, we've had a laser light show from South High School playing, and it was really fun last night to see the elementary students dancing to it and interacting with it, and just getting to interact with all the different levels of artwork that is there, which is extra special for the kids. So please, we hope that you join us at some point between now and May 1st at the Audubon Library to check out the artwork. Everybody here has their voting forms as well, so you can participate in the vote for the budget vote art finalists, and a piece as well, because we are at the library starting tomorrow. So a version of that ballot is going to be available to the community as well, so they can have a little piece in choosing that artwork as well. So please join us at some point between now and May 1st and enjoy all of the work. And congratulations to all of our students. Over 300 works from students in K through 12.
That is awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to play the video, then you right there.
This year, we are excited that the District Art Show is returning in person to the Amherst Main Library at Audubon. This year's art show features more than 300 pieces of art from students grades K through 12. The things that you're going to see is probably going to be a huge variety of two-dimensional work, first of all. You're going to see things from regular pencil renderings, portraits. You'll see them working with three-dimensional, huge varieties, some more traditional than others. I mean, the direction kids go in with the way that they're going to solve a problem three-dimensionally or two-dimensionally is endless.
What's your favorite part about art?
Painting.
Why painting?
Because It makes me calm.
When I first saw it, I said, "You did that? What made you design all these flowers?" And she said, "I just think of the flowers at my house and the beautiful flowers from the movie Encanto." And I thought that that was so great. So that was her inspiration.
It always blows my mind seeing what a 5-year-old can do if you give them certain directions and you walk them through that. When you see their finished piece and you put it up in the hall and somebody's like, a kindergartner made that? I'm like, yeah, they can do it. You just got to give them the right tools.
I was excited because my art's getting shown.
You know, it's all the kids. It's everything. It's a wonderful opportunity that Williamsville puts on. We're fortunate to have such a special thing in the district.
A lot of what we teach is going to be like social emotional learning, and with arts it's just so easy to tap into that and let them express themselves, and it's just, for some kids, it's their escape. So having art in part of their day is just so important. It's always fun to walk around and look at, you know, kindergarten through seniors in high school and see how amazing the talent is in our district.
So I want them to have a sense of pride in their piece, and I want them to just love art. I want them to want to go get more. I want them to continue to work creatively, to take a class in the future, to look around them with a sense of fresh eyes all the time, always exploring and thinking about what they can do creatively to, you know, keep art a major part of their life.
That's awesome. Thank you very much for that, Jamie.
Thank you.
So in addition, throughout the district, we also have incredible programs and initiatives that help prepare our students to be leaders in a diverse global community. Jamie is also the director of business for our district and has more on the impact of programs such as FBLA and DECA. So Jamie, take it away.
Okay, let me switch my hat. So over to the business department, we have some exciting things going on as well. FBLA, Future Business Leaders of America. Its mission is to inspire and prepare to become community-minded business leaders in a global society through relevant career preparation and leadership experiences. The programs that they have focus on leadership development, academic competitions, educational programs, and community service. At Williamsville East High School, they pride themselves on supporting a strong FBLA chapter for their students. And as we speak, they are in Rochester for the New York State FBLA High School Spring Leadership Conference, with students participating in a variety of competitive events throughout the weekend. And we cannot wait till they get back and hear all about it. DECA, an association of marketing students. Its mission is to prepare emerging leaders and entrepreneurs for careers in marketing, finance, hospitality, and management around the globe. At Williamsville North and Williamsville South High Schools, their DECA chapters shine bright. I had the opportunity this year to see the DECA State Career Conference in action last month. They were out in Rochester, and it was absolutely exhilarating. The entire conference is completely student-led. When they're not competing, they are working and supporting everybody else in their competitions. Another piece, there are over 2,500 students that participate in the conference, and our students, to prepare for it, have over 55 pages of performance indicators that they have to review, study, practice, prepare with their teams for what is a 10 to 15-minute competition event that they participate in. So quite a lot of work goes into their preparation. I'm happy to say that this year we had 50 students receive anywhere from an honorable mention, top 10 medal, or top 3 winner in the competitions from North and South High School this year. Of those students, 3 of them will advance to the International Career Development Conference to represent Williamsville at the national level. And here's a look at the impact of those programs.
FBLA stands for Future Business Leaders of America, and it is a student-run club that has 3 different competitions. It has local, state, national competitions. So it really helps if a student takes a business course. Students could either do volunteer community activities if they don't want to compete. They could also attend meetings in school and run the Commons Cafe. So there's other ways to participate in the club.
Hi, my name is Shreya Gandham, and I'm a senior at Williamsville East High School. In FBLA, I've competed in American Enterprise Project during my sophomore year, and banking and financial systems and international business during my junior year. During my sophomore year, I attended nationals, and during my junior year, I qualified for nationals, but I was unable to attend. When I was a freshman and I just started FBLA, I was not a good speaker and I was not confident. But over the years, I've gained a lot of interpersonal skills, and now I'm able to be the chapter president. And I have recruited over 200 members using the skills I've acquired through FBLA.
I'm really proud of the students. They work really hard here at Williamsville East to prepare for the competitions. They've grown in ways such as organization, team building, being able to communicate better, and just the interpersonal relationships that go along with it are excellent. So they've done a really good job.
DECA is a great national organization that allows students to use all the skills they learned in our business classes as well as other core classes in a real-world setting with judges who role play, irate customers, their bosses, employees, and they have to work through some simple problems for those.
Hi, my name is Drew Katzman, and I'm a sophomore at Williamsville North. In DECA, I've competed in Principles of Finance, and then this year I'm doing Hospitality and Tourism Professional Salad. For DECA, Intro to Business helped me by giving me an overview of all things business, which allowed me to perform well in my finance event last year. And then this year, by taking Marketing and Accounting, it has allowed me to take a different view of how to create a business and sell for my event this year.
Hi, my name is Giovanna Ganji, and I'm a senior at Williamsville South. The DECA business classes really help us to be prepared for DECA because we learn all of the business language and be more comfortable with presenting once we get to competition. DECA has impacted me because it has helped me be more a confident speaker and confident in my career path, as well as helped me to realize what other options there are out there for my career paths.
I'm so impressed. This is actually just my third year as a DECA advisor. My first year, everything was virtual, so it was kind of, different, but it's so impressive to me because especially looking back at, myself as a teenager thinking, oh my gosh, I could never do these things like stand up in front of a judge and just come up with some of the ideas and creativity of what they present is just amazing. We can't actually watch them compete, but we do workshops with the kids beforehand to get them prepared for competition. And just seeing some of the responses that they have, you're just so amazed that they can, be that creative and that kind of intuitive into the business world.
We have with us tonight a couple of our students going to nationals, and we would love to take a moment to recognize them. They all wanted to be here. Some of them had some athletic games tonight. So I'd like to bring up Alan Baldston and Dawn Robertson, the DECA chapter advisors at South and North High School, and they will introduce the students.
Good evening. Thank you for having us tonight. We appreciate it. And thank you for allowing us to do this for the students of Williamsville. You give us the tools and the opportunity to have this every year, and we are thankful for you every year for doing that. These students that are going to introduce you tonight are going to Orlando on Friday to compete with about 14,000 students from around the U.S. and Ontario, and a few students from Spain, and another 6,000 to 7,000 adults there. So over 20,000 people will be there. It's an impressive competition. I've been doing this now. I've been involved with DECA for 21 years, and every year I get blown away by seeing those. I know you're laughing, Dr. Lippman. It's been that long. I know it's been. I know. I was in your class 20 some odd years ago. Yes. I know.
Look at you today.
So the two students who couldn't be with us tonight because of some rearrangements for their events. Jonathan Lamb from North. He's competing in personal financial literacy. Gianna Viscom from North, she is in the Thrive campaign for her competition at Nationals. The two we do have tonight, one from North is Eli Pawlowski. You can come on up. Eli is competing in the Accounting Application Series event. There's going to be about 140 to 160 students in his event.
Wow.
They do it kind of nice at Nationals, so they break it up into flights. So there's about 10 flights, about 14 to 16 students each. So he's competing against 14 to 15 students to make it to finals, and then finals, roughly 20 students to get on stage, and hopefully we can get there. And then from South, we have Nathan Allen. Nathan's one of those students who took on some extra work. He's competing in a manual event called Business Growth Plan. These manual events require students to write either 10 to 20 page papers and present their ideas to judges. His specifically is dealing with the business he runs. So he had to write about how he's going to improve his business and then present that to the judges. So it's
Got it.
he knows what he's doing. And it's incredible that students want to write 10 to 20 page papers on their own without being like forced to do it for a grade. It's just incredible. So these students put in a lot of time and effort throughout the year, and they did an amazing job. So we congratulate them for their accomplishments, and I think they're going to do pretty well in Orlando.
Awesome.
Thank
Congratulations.
you.
Here, you do a picture.
They're roommates in Orlando too.
I still have another. Dr. Lippman wants to say something very quickly.
Oh. No, I just wanted to make a comment about the importance of business programs and occupational education for students. I'm always proud of my former students, as Alan Ballston is proud of his students. And again, as a former DECA advisor, and my son, having been a student of Mr. Ballston at North and competing at the state in DECA, again, it's a highly valuable program that we should make sure we always have opportunities for our students outside of the classroom to be successful. And that's one of them.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for that, Dr. Lippman. Finally, we know a healthy body can help fuel a healthy mind. Tonight's school spotlight focuses on Transit Middle School and one of their before school programs. I'd like to welcome up Assistant Principal Mr. Patrick Quast, who will explain and show how a little fun and friendship help set students up for success even before the bell rings.
Oh, I'm not this tall. So you're going to see a video here. It's a great way of showcasing our intramural program that we have before school. You'll notice in the video, it's a beautiful spring day. The sun is shining, birds are chirping. But when you can get 80 kids out of bed on a December day when it's blowing snow and 12 degrees outside, it is an absolutely awesome thing. It's great to not only see kids come in and try new sports, but also for the kids that are familiar for the activities that are going on, they have a chance to teach some of their friends. And quite frankly, it's also always great to see, when volleyball unit rolls around and our girls volleyball team just dusts the boys football team. It's a great thing to see. So they're a great group of kids that come in and they really have fun. And although there's a healthy amount of competition that's there, it's also nice just to see kids coming together, making new friendships from the grades above them and the grades below them. So we were really proud of it, and it turned out awesome.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yay.
We've got a great before school intramural program here at Transit Middle School. Just like anyone who hopes to hit the gym before going to work, our students are getting some great cardiovascular activity in before they start their school day. So for a lot of our students, this is one of the highlights for their day.
New friendships are blossomed here, and it's just a wonderful way for our students not only to just learn new sports, but to just have a lot of fun doing it.
It's really fun to play basketball with your friends in the morning, to get out of your house and get active in the morning. If you're active in the morning, you're going to be more active during the day.
Helps prepare me for my day at school, and I love sports, so it's a good way to start my morning. You can come in and just like with your friends and just like play different games, and it's really fun.
Just to watch the students that have a little bit more experience than others, help them along the way, is one of the best things about our program. It's just a wonderful opportunity, and it's more than just playing sports. They're learning compassion, they're learning sportsmanship. We act as just facilitators, and what happens there is our children, our students are allowed to be leaders. There's this internal nurturing between students that allow them to succeed. It's just wonderful to watch.
I come to morning intramurals because I really like being active and playing sports, and I get to see my friends and do sports we don't always get to do in gym.
Play basketball, kickball, volleyball, hockey, play like all the sports.
Having a balanced life as a middle schooler is really important. To start off their school day, spending time with their friends, getting some cardiovascular activity in, and then come to our classrooms where they're more engaged, more actively participating, and ready to learn. It's a great opportunity for them to start their day on a positive note.
Awesome. Thank you very much,
Appreciate
Assistant Principal Quas.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
I'll turn it back over to you, President McCleary.
Thank you. At this time, are there any board acknowledgements? Dr. Littman?
Thank you so much. I just want to take out some time today to read a proclamation from President Joe Biden about today, which is Yom HaShoah, the annual day to commemorate the Holocaust. So I wanted to read his proclamation and share that with all of you. During Yom HaShoah and throughout these days of remembrance, we mourn the millions of Jews who were murdered during the horrors of the Holocaust, as well as the millions of Roma and Sinti, Slavs, disabled people, LGBTQI+ individuals, and political dissidents who were murdered at the hands of the Nazis and their collaborators. Together with courageous survivors, descendants of victims, and people around the world, we honor our solemn vows of never again. Last year, I returned to Yad Vashem, and for those who don't know Yad Vashem, which is a hand in a name, it's the Holocaust Memorial in Jerusalem. I made 2 visits there last year. It's the World Holocaust Remembrance Center to pay tribute to the lives that were stolen during the dark chapter of our history and to honor their memory. I will never forget meeting with 2 survivors on their sacred grounds and hearing their stories. The horrors of the Holocaust are painful to recount, the savage murder of numerous innocent families, and the systematic dehumanization of entire populations. We remember the cries for help that went unanswered and the bright futures ended short. We must never look away from the truth of what happened. The right of remembrance becomes more urgent with each passing year as fewer survivors remain to share their stories and open our eyes to the harm of unchecked hatred. Unfortunately, hatred never goes away. It only hides, lurking until it is given the oxygen to emerge again. We have seen the hard truth across our country, from swastikas on cars, anti-Semitic banners on bridges, to attacks against Jewish people at schools and synagogues, and outright Holocaust denial. The venom and violence of anti-Semitism goes against all the values we stand for as Americans. It is a stark reminder, as my dear friend Elie Wiesel once said, that indifference is always a friend of the enemy, and as my father taught me, silence is complicity. My administration has not and will not be indifferent. That is why I appointed Deborah Lipstadt, a historian of the Holocaust, and the first ambassador level special envoy to monitor and combat anti-Semitism. We are developing a national strategy to counter anti-Semitism, mobilizing the full weight of the federal government to fight the scourge of hate in America. And we have co-sponsored the United Nations resolution to combat Holocaust denial through education. We secured the largest increase in funding ever for the physical security of nonprofits, including synagogues, Jewish community centers, Jewish day schools, and other houses of worship. I convened the first ever White House summit on combating hate-fueled violence because nobody should fear going to religious service, wearing a symbol of their faith, and simply being who they are. Hate must have no safe harbor in America or anywhere else. Today and always, we make our message clear: evil will not win, hate will not prevail, and the violence of anti-Semitism will not be the story of our time. Together, we can ensure that never again is a promise we can keep. Signed by President Joseph R. Biden, Jr.
Thank you, Dr. Littman, for bringing that to us this evening. We now move on to public expression. I call on Ms. Poulin to review our public expression format.
Welcome to all who have come to observe this regular board meeting. Per policy 1510, the board allows up to 30 minutes of public comment, a time when we invite members of our school community to share ideas, opinions, and concerns with us. While we are here to listen carefully, we take your concerns seriously. Public comment is not designed to be a discussion. Therefore, please do not expect us to respond tonight. Instead, you will receive a response by email after our meeting. Because we want to maintain mutual respect and civility, please ensure that comments are delivered in a respectful manner to the board directly. Also, under state and federal privacy laws, we are unable to disclose information about particular students or employee personnel information. On these matters, we ask you to go through the appropriate administrative channels. Please note that individuals are required to sign up prior to our meeting, and each speaker is allotted 3 minutes for comments. You will be signaled at 2.5 minutes so that you may conclude your remarks. At this time, we will begin our public comments. After I call on you, please step to the podium and state your name. Tim Terrell.
Hi, everyone. I'm Tim Terrell. Let's get this thing right. That'll work. All right. Thanks for letting me speak today. Just want to do one thing here. Never mind. Okay. I plan to talk today a little bit about the DEI plan and a little bit about the budget and how they might be related to me. So as I always say when I do speak about this is that I fully support DEI. I believe that Williamsville has historically done a really fantastic job teaching students the skills necessary to become kind and accepting of all people. I also believe that the Williamsville Special Education Program was amazing and helped my twin autistic sons have great academic success. So though Williamsville can always improve, like I've heard others say, from my viewpoint, it has been very successful with traditional DEI programs. So the big question in my mind is, what's the justification to roll out a new DEI plan? One that encourages community members to read papers like White Fragility, take implicit bias tests for race, and professional development classes that have participants examine their whiteness. How is this kind of approach inclusive? What kind of metrics exist that justify the use of these techniques? How is that tied to academic success in any way? What is it going to cost? How will it reduce time spent on academic material? Many of these questions and more have been asked by community members over the last year and a half or two, but with few substantive answers. As for costs, the answer has been a resounding "we don't know." What we do know is that many parents of special needs children at the last community forum reported very poor experiences, the opposite of my experience, with regards to their children's special needs and supports. They were told to ask legislature for more money, but the latest comptroller report showed a $12 million surplus for special education needs in Williamsville alone. So my thought is, maybe the board keep existing DEI plans where the schools have the character traits in the hallways and such, and focus time and energy on using that unspent money on the special needs programs that have definitely worked. I know hopefully I'm not the outlier, but it did work. And bring the E back in DEI for special needs children. In addition to the unanswered questions about the plan, I have a personal experience I'd like to share that brings into question some of the DEI, maybe the newer DEI approaches. So within the past year, I was having a calm discussion with someone from school administration about a few concerns about the path of this new DEI plan. We were discussing concerns I had about white fragility, and I asked them if I had white fragility. Without hesitation, they said that without a doubt, I had white fragility. This person didn't know me or my background at all, but because I'm white, they felt empowered to label me as racist. When I responded that I know that's not even possible because my life experience is the opposite. I am surrounded by people of all nationalities and ethnicities, and I'm kind to everybody. They stood firmly. Had nothing more to say. When I gave example of how I've always loved rap music as an example of my affinity for Black culture, I was told that that was a microaggression. So numerous times throughout the conversation, I attempted different ways to reach the person and explain how the label was hurtful and insulting and, to no avail. I was demeaned because I'm white.
Excuse me, your time is up.
Oh, okay. I just have just a second. So there's no two ways about that. That kind of discussion really has no place in Williamsville. And Dr. Brown-Hall, I didn't appreciate that conversation that we had. You had no right to say that to me or the other people in the room.
Our name.
Again, we refrain from directing things directly to persons or personnel.
Directing those to me in a private meeting. So now everybody knows that that's what he does.
Why? Okay.
Next person.
Terry King.
Terry King. Well. Hey, Terry King.
Hey, good evening, board. Terry King. I want to address the recent New York State Comptroller Tom DiNapoli's financial management report issued April 2023. When I became aware of this report and I read through it, I was really bothered by some of the findings. And I hope tonight that you would really take to heart the role of the board as the fiscal authority to pass and to appropriate balanced budget that's accurate, that represents the true condition of the school. But apparently in the findings report, that didn't happen here for the last 3 years. This board, prior boards have voted on budgets that were constructed falsely with misappropriation or misallocation of funds to generate a picture to the community that there were deficits that didn't exist, where in fact in one of the key findings report, the comptroller speaks to adopted annual budgets during the same period that gave the impression that the district would have operating deficits totaling $38 million, when actually the operating surpluses totaled $40 million with a difference of $78 million. The district then, based on these budgets that this board approved, went to the taxing authority and asked for a tax levy, which was again falsely requested and exceeded the state statute tax law section 1318. Fund balances, and this is per the comptroller's report, fund balances represent the cumulative residual resources from prior fiscal years. New York State real property tax law section 1318 currently limits the amount of surplus fund balance that a district can retain to 4%. Each year, we exceeded those state statutes on purpose. And we constructed a narrative that this district had deficits. That was untrue. And what bothered me personally was at the community forum about a month ago. The board was in dialogue with several parents that were speaking to the gravity of their special needs children and lack of resources. And they were told, well, we don't have the money. Go to your elected officials and get more state aid. And we'll gladly provide these resources to your families. Then we learned that some on this board, some in administration knew that this report was to be released. There was a $12 million surplus in the special fund for special needs children. And they were denied those assets. We violated the state statute. And I would ask the board if you would consider bringing in an outside review, perhaps the state attorney general, to bring back fiscal integrity to the taxpayers, to the district, so that we can all have faith that the new budget will be constructed correctly, honestly, forthrightly. And then the question we have to ask is, are you returning to the taxpayers the overfunded taxes that were levied inappropriately for the last 3 years? Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Deb Rogers.
Good evening, everyone. First off, I just want to start by saying thank you to all of you for your service. I know that public service is oftentimes a thankless job as you sit up here some evenings. You may question as to why you are in that seat, but I appreciate all of you being here. And so I just wanted to bring something to the board's attention in lieu of the upcoming school board election. I feel it's important to publicly note a safety issue at North High School that occurred during last year's school board election on May 17th, 2022. Amherst police responded to an occurrence they noted as aggravated harassment, second degree, complaint number 22-221154. The individual referred to as the suspect in the report is now listed on Williamsville board docs as a Board of Education candidate and is vying for a seat on this board at the Williamsville School District. This individual's threatening behavior, which was completely unwarranted, unprovoked, and inappropriate, included screaming profanity while on school property and causing public disturbance during election hours, with several parents and small school children witnessing all of it. While I understand that this board has no influence on the candidates who seek election to this board, I feel it would be careless of me to not bring this to your attention. As elected officials, however, it is your duty to facilitate a conversation to help ensure adequate safety and well-being for any and all voters and candidates in the upcoming school board election being held here at North High School on May 16th, along with the assistance from the Amherst Police Department. Politically, our nation, as you know, is more divided now than ever before, and sadly, that division has seeped into the core of school board elections. When in the history of Williamsville school districts have we ever experienced 14 individuals vying for 4 seats this year? Unfortunately, with division comes this volatility, and oftentimes there's threatening behavior. On more than one occasion, I've seen this district state, if you see something, say something. Now more than ever, it is important that both voters and candidates feel safe as the election process unfolds. The conversation surrounding safe and secure elections should not end with federal, state, or local government elections. It should trickle down to include every and all elections, including school board elections. I appreciate your attention to this most important matter. And if you have questions and you'd like to see a report, you can certainly follow up with me on that. Thank you.
Jay Anderson.
Evening, everyone.
Hey.
I'm like in a place of the heartache to follow, because we've had somebody mention the $78 million of funds that were hidden over 3 years, or well, I mean, hidden is a term that I just threw out, but the comptroller said it was outside of statute, which is to mean some people in this district and some people on this board participated in something that was illegal. And it wasn't done 1 year, and it wasn't done, with the absence of any forethought, because it occurred for 3 years in a row. So cumulatively, it raised the stakes up to 78 million. Money's probably gone now. I think I know where it went, but that's not why I'm here to talk. Last year, I spoke once. I've only spoken, I think, once at a school board meeting. $3 million was the figure that I was given that was pertaining to learning loss from the federal COVID-19 and other monies for COVID-19 learning loss. I had estimated that figure to be $13 million. I was corrected by somebody here in the room. And I was doing it by per capita, per student. And I was thinking to myself, where's the $1,300 extra to my child, to any child in this district? There's no tangible benefit that had come. And this was just last year, so that would have been 2022. I hadn't seen anything. Still struggles, still issues, with IT and absorbing those things, not testing at higher rates, and still struggling to achieve. And there really was nothing different, but the money was there. But I was told, no, it's $3 million, which would knock that figure down to about $375 per student. Well, the state said it's $15 billion. That's the state comptroller. $15 billion. And if you divide it by the 2.4 million students in the state of New York, it's a lot of students. It's $6,500 almost per student to go to learning loss, and that's specifically from the state comptroller, for learning loss only. So if I go back to last year's figure from a member of the on here, $300 was the portion of the 3 million. I had estimated it at 1,300. But even if Williamsville gets less in state aid than other districts, and we know that per capita we do, we're a good district, and we don't have all the troubles that other districts have, and the funds get dispersed differently. So knock that in half. That means that every child should have had $3,000 worth of tutoring, additional mental health services, additional training in how to use the technologies of WITS. None of that has ever been visible to me, and I've been looking for it. So state says 66,000 plus per student. I give you maybe half has come to this district. I was told last year it was only $300 by the $3 million figure, but I knew it was more.
Thank you for your
What are you
comments.
doing?
Thank you for your comments.
Hello.
Your time is up. Thank you.
Help these kids. I spent almost $10,000 to aid my child out of pocket this year. Thank you.
Jonathan Rich.
Evening, everyone. Transparency. That's a word I've said like a bajillion times in the last couple of years. We're still having issues with it in the district. And I think that a lot of the speakers tonight kind of drill it down into that. FOIA requests, DEI questions initially, students first started as an organization about questions regarding the school shutdown that took place 4 years ago. Administrative turnover. And we even have questions of transparency among the board itself. As Terry spoke, the true cost of transparency in the district has a number now, $78 million. And we need a board that's going to produce more buy-in to the community. We need to build more on trust. And I've had a lot of conversations about trust with the people of this board, the people in administration the last couple of years. And in order to do that, we still need to go further as a board, as a school district, to start changing that culture. I think that we've done a good job so far, but we need to take another step and really lean into being transparent about what's going on, what's gone on, and what's going to go on in the district. These aren't parents asking crazy questions. You know, no one's been ridiculously accusatory. There's valid questions here, and there have been valid questions for several years that still have not been answered. Anyway, thank you for your time. Have a good night.
Thank you for your comments. And that concludes our open forum, excuse me, our public forum for this evening.
Thank you, Ms. Poulin. We're on item number 5, which is a review of our code of conduct, followed by a public forum on that topic. I turn it back to Dr. Brown Hall.
Thank you very much, President McCleary. So the updated code of conduct is in board docs under item 5A. I want to thank Assistant Superintendent Tony Scanzuzzo along with the District Wellness Council for updating the code of conduct. There are some changes that are listed in board docs that are reflected in the code of conduct. I also want to thank our board members for doing a thorough review and submitting questions and suggestions to the district that will be included in the updated code of conduct. And as you will see, that the final code of conduct will be approved at the May 23rd board meeting. And right now we'll open it up for the discussion and for community feedback. Would you like to add anything, Assistant Superintendent Scanzuzzo?
No, I'd just like to I appreciate the feedback from board members regarding updating some of the language and contract for his and her to there, and just making it more in line with what we're doing as a district, to make it just more reflective of what our goals are. Appreciate that.
Thank you very much, Assistant Superintendent Scanzuzzo. I'll turn it back to you, Dr. McCleary.
At this time, the board welcomes anyone in attendance who wishes to speak about the code of conduct, that they can come to the podium at this time. None? All right. Oh,
Maybe one.
please state your name.
Hi, Jay Anderson again. I didn't know that this was on the agenda today, and there's no copies. And yeah, I guess I could have gone on the website in the last minute and a half, but I don't know. If you're going to open it up to the public, maybe have some copies printed next time. Thank you.
Was in the agenda.
Yeah.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Oop.
All right. We are now into our consent agenda. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda items 7, personnel, 8, business, and 9, special needs and student activities as presented? Dr. Littman, second. Ms. Kazmarek-Bogner, all in favor?
No discussion?
Discussion.
We're talking about business part of it too, right? Yeah. No, it's just I had a question. It was for Tom, and I made some comments about the bidding that we're getting. And I guess the question is, having done this for a number of years, have you observed the number of bidders we have on everything going up or down? Because the cost of everything is going up, but people, organizations interested in bidding these days. And
yeah, typically the amount of bids we're getting are going down.
Yeah,
definitely, and the costs are going up.
Yeah,
it's to certain areas, it's more than others.
I just wanted to get clarity. Thank you.
Any further discussion? So, all in favor of accepting the consent items? Thank you. Motion carries unanimously. At this time, I would like to thank Mr. Chris McDuffie for assuming the acting principal position at Mill Middle School. Mr. McDuffie, would you like to say a few words?
I would like to thank Dr. Brown Hall and the Board of Education for the opportunity to serve as
the acting principal at Mill Middle School for the remainder of the school year. I am excited to work with the amazing students and the incredible and resilient Mill Middle School staff. I look forward to our journey together over the next several weeks, and I'm looking forward to a strong finish to the school year. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Going incognito now.
I would like to thank the following retirees for their service to the district. Janine Justin, Casey Middle School, for 24 years of service. Margaret Ackerman, North High School, for 28 years of service. Catherine Greiner, East High School, for 12 years of service. Ray Kirschner, Child Nutrition Department, for 11 years of service. Edward Miller, South High School, for 16 years of service. And Mary Valentine, North High School, for 14 years of service. Thank you to all those retirees. Item number 10. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from the March 14th regular board meeting and March 28th special board meeting? Ms. Kazmarek-Bogner, second. Mr. Bewlin? Any corrections? All in favor? Thank you. Motion carries unanimously. Item number 11, the President's Report. The upcoming events are listed in board docs. There will be conversations with the Board of Education and Superintendent for faculty and staff. It will be held on May 3rd from 3:30 to 4:30 at East High School in the Commons. The next school board building visit will be on June 7th at Dodge Elementary and District Office. Board members attending so far are Ms. Bleckinger, Ms. Poulin, Ms. Kazmarek-Bogner, Dr. Littman, and myself. Are there any others? All right. Thank you. Would someone like to make a motion to nominate David Lowry for the Area 1 Director for NYSBA as presented? Dr. Littman. Second. Ms. Poulin. Any discussion? All in favor? Thank you. Motion carries unanimously. The Policy 6000 Series Committee will be meeting on April 27th from 2:30 to 4 p.m. in the district office conference rooms. Upcoming events and meetings for ECASB and NYSBA information are listed in board docs. Does anyone have anything to report related to either ECASB or NYSBA? F. The draft Board of Education meeting calendar is in board docs. Does anyone have questions or comments about the calendar? This will be on the July 5th agenda for approval. Thank you. May I have a motion to approve and authorize the district clerk to hire election personnel as presented? Dr. Singh. Second. Ms. Bleckinger. Discussion? All in favor? Thank you. Motion carried unanimously. At this time, I call on District Clerk Lynn Carey to share information regarding board candidate information and the annual vote.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. McClary. Okay, so board candidate ballot draw was this evening at 5:30. And this year we have 14 candidates, and the numbering of the candidates are in board docs under that agenda item. And these will also be listed under the events and then the WCSD candidate ballot drawing. Agenda item 11I is voter information. So all the information, again, is in board docs under this agenda item, and the application for absentee ballot has been available. So as soon as the ballot is ready and printed, I will send out the packet to those who have requested. I've had a couple of requests already. Along with the packet will be directions on how to return the application and completed ballot back to me. Options to return are there will be a locked drop box in front of district office entryway, door number 14. And also you can mail it back. It's postage paid, return back ballot. It says right here, ballot return envelope. And all directions will be on the packet when I send it out. And that is it. Are there any questions or comments from the board regarding that? Yes, Dr.
Wouldn't they
Littman?
relate more to what Mayor Deb Rogers said about if we're having 14 people running, should we have enhanced security? The other thing I know that came up last time was people exiting the north parking lot, going, taking a left on Hopkins or whatever. So I guess I just want to.
I've made note of what you're saying and what Ms.
as
Rogers
long
is
as
saying as well.
Keep it in our mind. that-
Yeah, and we have security. I'll just maybe advise them of those couple
I
items.
just don't want to have any, I don't.
I don't either.
Accidents.
Mhm.
Yeah.
No accidents all around. And keep it safe. Okay.
Like one of those signs.
Anyone else? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Carey. Would someone like to make a motion to resolve that upon recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Williamsville Central District Board of Education adopts the proposed Erie 1 BOCES administrative budget for 2023-24 in the amount of $3,865,941 as presented?
Raise it once.
Ms. Pooley. Second, Dr. Littman. Any discussion?
Didn't get to the
Ms. Kazmarek-Bogner.
Yes, I move to amend the Erie One BOCES administrative budget breakdown for 2023-24 to reflect that the program total percent change that is listed in their booklet is actually an increase of 3.18%. But the amount of the budget remains the same.
I certainly understand what you're saying. Are you requesting that we make that change, or we notify them that perhaps?
I'm just amending it because there was an error in the booklet that's attached in board docs. So I wanted to make note of that so that anyone looking at that realizes that we are aware that it is not a decrease, but an increase of 3.18%. Does that make sense?
Okay, understood. And thank you, as always, for all of your information, Ms. Kazmarek-Bogner. Any other comments or discussion? All right. So, all in favor?
Well, you need a second on her. You need a second on.
Second.
We have a second, Mr. Bulin. All right. And now we're going to vote on the amendment, which is to make sure it is clear that it is not, that it is an increase of 3.18%. There's an error in the budget itself. Okay. All in favor? Thank you. The amendment is carried. Now, on the motion as amended, all in favor? Thank you. Motion carries unanimously. At this time, we will now vote on the Erie One BOCES board member election. Mrs. Carey will be taking the roll call vote after board members cast a vote for the candidates. Would someone like to make a motion to resolve to cast one vote in the annual election of two board members for the Board of Education of the Board of Cooperative Educational Services First Supervisory District? Ms. Kazmarek Bogner, second. Ms. Poulin, all in favor of doing that, and then we're ready to go to
I'll do a roll
individuals.
call.
Roll call.
Yes.
Okay, Dr. Lippman, yes or no?
Yes.
Ms. Blackinger?
Yes.
Dr. Singh?
Yes.
Dr. McClary?
Yes.
Ms. Poulin?
Yes.
Mr. Biscaglia?
Yes.
Mrs. Kazmarek Bogner?
Yes.
Mr. Bewin?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Second one.
Hmm?
There's the second one.
I know, that's,
Next.
okay. So now looking at individuals, we didn't vote for the first person without me saying his name. I apologize to Mr. John Sherman, who we just voted for. Now for Ms. Janet McGregor Plyer. Will someone vote in a roll call vote to have her serve as a trustee of the BOCES First Supervisory District of Erie County in a term beginning July 1, 2023 through June 30th, 2026? Need a second.
I need someone who's casting the vote. Who's motioning for the?
Who's going to make a motion? That Dr. Littman.
Dr. Lippman, got it.
A
And a
second,
second?
Dr. Singh.
I feel pressure.
Okay, roll call vote, Dr. Lippman,
Yes.
Ms. Blackinger, Dr. Singh,
Yes.
Dr. McClary,
Yes.
Ms. Poulin,
Yes.
Mr. Biscaglia,
Yes.
Ms. Kazmarek Bogner,
Yes.
and Mr. Bewin.
Yes.
Thank you. So we have Mr. John Sherman and Ms. Janet McGregor Plyer for Erie One BOCES trustees. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Brown Hall, I turn it over to you for the community update.
Thank you very much, Dr. McClary. Nick, can you pull that up for us, please? Perfect. Thank you very much, Dr. McClary. So we'll start tonight talking about the budget vote and the Board of Education elections. So the ballot draw for candidates seeking a seat on the board was screened earlier this evening on YouTube, and the candidate information is available in board docs and will be available on the district website this week. So just to review, the top three candidates in the May election will be elected to serve 3-year terms beginning July 1, 2023 and ending on June 30th, 2026. The candidate with the fourth most votes will be elected to the board and serve the final 2 terms of the vacated term of the vacated seat. Final 2 years, I'm sorry. So that will begin the day after the election, May 17th, 2023, and go until June 30th, 2025. So the budget vote and elections, the budget vote is Tuesday, May 16th from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. at Williamsville North High School. Absentee ballot information, as was just explained by District Clerk Carey, can be absentee ballot information. You want to contact Lynn Carey, her email and phone are on this slide. So we want to make sure we have it here. So if anyone has any questions, they can go back to this slide and find the information for our District Clerk, Miss Carey. So the New York State Comptroller report and recommendations. I know a lot of people have mentioned that and has been a topic for discussion. So we just want to go over some of the findings and the district response. What I would encourage everyone to do and ask that you please do in board docs, we not only have the report, but we also have our response letter and our CAP, our corrective action plan. So I ask that you please review those items also. But first, did not properly manage the district's fund balance and reserves. That was one of the findings, right? And our response is that the audit key findings do not reflect any violation of New York State education or municipal law. That's important to note, that we did not violate any of those laws. Number one, overestimated general fund appropriations. Well, our response is when you compare the actual revenues to expenses, there's a net change in fund balance over 4 years of 0.36%. So the COVID impact, annual instructional program changes must be planned for, especially when we have fluctuations in many of our programs and the cost of actually keeping our programs in district. Number two, adopted budgets that give the impression of operating deficits. So our response, so when you use of fund balance and reserves as revenue are based on historic state aid issues. In the presence of state aid decreases, Williamsville Central School District programs are maintained. The comptroller already warned that New York State will have a looming $22 billion deficit. So that came from the comptroller. So we need to be sure that we're planning for the deficit that the comptroller's office is warning that New York State will face. Number three, not fully transparent on the funding and replenishment of reserves. So our response, reserve funding and transparent notifications are done within all laws. Reserve funding estimates are provided in May and June with detailed reporting occurring in November. So we are transparent in that realm. You know what, this, the district response is, I'm sorry, because they were duplicated on this page. So we'll have to make sure we correct this for the PowerPoint that's in board docs. All right. I apologize about that. Community feedback. So we're always looking for community feedback. We appreciate when everyone comes up to the podium and speaks to the board. We thank you very much for that. We also want to extend that by making sure you complete our 2023 district-wide communication survey, which is now available on Wix for parents, guardians, faculty, and staff. There are 23 questions, and it should take about 2 to 7 minutes to complete. Foundation aid comment period closes on Friday, April 21st. So you still have time to provide comments for foundation aid also. Yes, Dr.
But I haven't seen what the district-wide community survey looks like, but many of us are educators. When you say you have 23 questions and it's going to take you 2 minutes, I haven't seen it, so I don't know. But it just seems a little short.
2 to 7 minutes.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, can we say 3 to 8? I don't know. I'm just thinking it.
Yeah, we can say 3 to 8, sure.
Oh, you don't need to.
But we want to encourage everyone to take it at their leisure.
Yeah.
So don't rush through it.
Okay.
So it may take some people 2 minutes, it may take people 10 minutes, right? But on average, there's only 23 questions and they're very short questions.
Okay.
All right.
Just checking. Thank you.
Absolutely. There are a lot of questions about the special education review, and we're halfway through the review. We actually met with the Western New York Education Service Council to get an update, and these are the areas that they'll be reporting on. The district's continuum of special education services, the district's self-contained continuum of service, identification and placement of students, the district's leadership resources, effectiveness of the Williamsville Central School District Special Program, and the student experience. And the appendix will include a lot of data that they've collected. I also want, because next steps, a lot of people have asked, what are the next steps? In the month of May, the Western New York Education Service Council will be meeting at each individual school. They'll be meeting with administration. They'll be meeting with teachers. At the high school, they'll be meeting with students, and they will be meeting with parents from each of our schools to make sure that they have triangulation of data to include in the special education review. So those are the next steps, or the individuals they'll be meeting with. As you heard earlier, the district art show is off and running. It's at the Audubon Library. The elementary school opening was last night. The middle and high school opening is tonight, and it's open to the public on Wednesday, April 13th. 19th. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of how long it's open. Upcoming exams. Our state assessments for grades 3 to 8 April 19th to the 20th are the ELA assessments. May 2nd to May 3rd are the math assessments. And May 23rd to June 2nd are the performance test. The June 5th is the written test, and that's science grade 8. Middle school exams, Wednesday, June 14th to Friday, June 16th, and Tuesday, June 20th through Wednesday, June 21st. High school exams, Thursday, June 1st, Monday, June 12th to Friday, June 16th, Tuesday, June 20th through Thursday, June 22nd. That's when they have the history and U.S. Regents exams. The middle and high schools will communicate directly with parents and students regarding individual student exam schedules. So be looking for those. Summer school dates and locations are already set. Elementary and middle school will take place at Casey Middle School for summer school, and that will be again on Tuesday, July 11th. That's the first day, and Wednesday, August 16th is the last student day of attendance. High school summer school will take place at Williamsville North High School, and the first day is Monday, June 10th, and the last day is Thursday, August 17th. Special education summer school will take place at Mill Middle School, with the first day being Monday, July 10th, and the last day being Friday, August 18th. Airmen of Note. So the Airmen of Note are performing at Williamsville South High School on Monday, May 1st. The concert is free. However, individuals will need to reserve a ticket due to seating capacity. We spoke about this on the last week's weekly update. Jazz ensembles from Williamsville East, North, and South will also be performing. And that is the end of the community update. Any questions from board members?
Dr. Brennan, I'll have that update.
Thank you. Yes, board member Casimir Bogner.
Um,
Bogner.
Thank you. I was just wondering if you can clarify for the community about summer school. I know high school students and their families can pick classes that they want to take, but how does the summer school program work for the other levels and for the special education program?
Absolutely. The special education program we brought back in district and we've expanded, and it's the ESY program. So families will be contacted if their students are eligible to attend this summer school program. I guess we have the dates in there. And then for the elementary and middle school program, it is also a process where we triangulate the data of students that need to attend. Dr. Balen, would you like to add to that?
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. At the elementary level, it is an elementary remediation-based program. So the recommendation process takes place at each building. We have all of the measures articulated. Certainly feedback is appreciated from the classroom teacher and families, but any students who are at risk of not meeting the grade level standards and or have indicated on the progress reports or report cards that there is need for support, we use all of that information, and essentially that's where the communication takes place with the families about who is recommended. The offer is made to the families, and then the families let us know if the students are able to attend. At the middle school level, by our policy and procedure, the program is geared towards students who do not pass their classes. So again, that process takes place at the building level, gets fed through the process through our school counselors, and goes directly to our building principal, who then pass the information on to our summer school principal. And then the communication is sent to the families as well.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dr. Balen. Any additional questions about the community update? Oh, if you could put it up there. Apologize for that. So also from the controller's report, the recommendations and response. So the recommendation is that the district district develops budgets with reasonable estimates for appropriation and fund balance use, and discontinue the practice of appropriating fund balance that is not needed or used to fund operations. And our response is the appropriation of fund balance in budgets is transparent and clearly explained in the long-range plan each year. When opportunities occur, it is reduced. It's been reduced $1.25 million in the 23-24 budget prior to the controller's report. Audit finding number 3, resolve the reserve fund policy to identify optimal targeted funding levels. Our response, controller report clearly states that the district's reserves were reasonably funded. Number 4, include provisions in the adopted budget for funding and replenishing reserves. The district has requested guidance on this item from the comptroller's office, and they are researching how to do this. So they requested and found and gave us a recommendation, but they don't know how we're going to do it yet. So they're going to research it and give us more information on what they recommended for us to do. So I want to share that also. But I encourage you, again, these are the abbreviated pieces. You want to read the CAP, which is our corrective action plan, and you definitely want to read the entire letter that was sent to the comptroller's office in response. Not only that, we want to also look at different school districts' comptrollers report. They're all similar, and we want to say that we appreciate the work of the comptroller's office, bringing any attention that we may need to look at in our budget. We do appreciate that, but we also want to make sure that everyone in our community reads all of our responses and our detailed letter. Any questions or comments about that, board members? Thank you very much.
Just one
Oh,
thing.
go ahead, Dr. Singh.
Would be discussing this issue in the audit committee meeting on May 23rd?
May 23rd, we will continue discussions on this, absolutely. And that's in the audit committee meeting that begins at 5 p.m. on May 23rd.
You know,
Dr.
just,
Singh, Dr. Lehman, sorry.
a viewpoint of, your comment on many school districts, I'm sure, have similar, issues in their audit from the controller's office. And then, again, you respond and, get that settled. But I guess the issue is if the comptroller's office, kind of uses the same template and lens to look at all of the districts, and then when they provide it to the district, and then you have board members and, financial officials, the community coming out and saying, there's an issue going on, it would seem like the state should modify what they're doing to some extent. If they consistently find in all the districts the same, then maybe the superintendents and the chief financial officers would kind of get together and say, we think there's a systemic issue with what you're looking at, and let's try to resolve that.
And we did, when we met with them maybe a couple of weeks ago, we did explain that to them, and we talked at length in detail with them, and then they said, make sure you put it in your response letter. And that's why we did.
There's more work. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I do want to move on to the DEI update. If we can put that up, Nick, please.
Got it.
Thank you very much. So DEI policy, I do want to go back in time a bit to October 2021, when the board adopted the DEI policy, policy 3431. And in the policy explains the district will develop a DEI plan to manage and coordinate the execution of this policy. The policy called for us creating a DEI committee. It says the district will establish a DEI committee to meet periodically throughout the year. The purpose of the DEI committee is to assist the district in creating and implementing plans that advance the district's commitment to maintaining a diverse, equitable, and inclusive environment where all individuals feel valued and respected. The DEI committee will be representative of district stakeholders, and it indeed was that. There were 56 total DEI members. Any parent that actually submitted information asking to be on the DEI committee was allowed on. We had no selection process for parents. We did not do a lottery. Any parent that requested to be on was allowed on. So we had representatives from all of our stakeholder groups, and we're very, very proud of that. We began meeting in May of last year, so it's almost been approximately a year. So changes and revisions. After we reviewed and the DEI committee and all of the goal areas actually reviewed all of the feedback that was sent in, there were some revisions to the DEI plan. So revisions for goal statement 1A. Currently it reads, building DEI teams consisting of diverse stakeholders will meet regularly. That was revised and expanded to say building DEI teams will intentionally include a diverse representation of stakeholders reflective of the school community. 1A2 currently read, building DEI teams will receive guidance and support from district staff, colleagues, and community groups. It was revised and enhanced to read, building DEI teams will receive guidance and support regarding best practices from district staff, colleagues, and community groups. That best practices piece is very important. Revisions for goal statement 1B. And I will read these. I know people are looking like, don't read from a PowerPoint. I know you're not supposed to do that, but I will read these. 1B, current district and building teams will examine existing committees, practices, curricula, schedules, structures through a DEI lens and ensure that all voices are equitably represented. The revised wording, district and building teams will examine existing committees, practices, curricular schedules, structures, and ensure that all voices are equitably represented. So that whole, what does a DEI lens mean? That part was taken out. 1B1 currently says appropriate groups, teams, committees will examine district and building practices through a DEI lens. You see the revised piece also takes out through a DEI lens. Goal area 2, 2B, current. All students will have equitable access to the curriculum. In other words, differentiated instruction, intervention, and accelerated coursework. In the revision, we added universal design for learning. Goal area 3. Currently, district and building staff will engage in the planning and implementation of opportunities for students to express their identities. The revised wording says district and building staff and students, when appropriate, will engage in the planning and implementation of opportunities for students to express their identities. So that when appropriate part was added. DEI goal areas 4 and 5, both of those committees felt that no revisions were necessary based on the feedback. And DEI goal area 6, revisions to goal statement 6D. The district will provide professional learning opportunities that provide illustrative examples of best practices and encouraging student-centered constructive dialogue around difficult topics and promoting students as agents of positive social change. So the revision, the district will provide professional learning opportunities that provide illustrative examples of best practices and encouraging student-centered constructive dialogue around difficult topics and promoting social responsibility. So you will see many of these things that are in the DEI plan, and many of you have read it. I encourage you to read it again. This plan is a 5-year plan. This plan is not going to all be done immediately. These things take time, and most of it is great educational practice to ensure that all of our students have that sense of inclusiveness and that feeling of belonging when they're in our schools. So it's not a program. I know a lot of people ask, and we got in the emails, how much is this DEI program costing? DEI is not a program. It's actually what we're doing to make sure that we are appreciating the diversity that is apparent in our district. We are being very equitable in our decision-making, and we're creating a sense of inclusivity, leading to a sense of belonging for all students. So when asking about cost, the one cost that is definitely attributed to the DEI plan is the hiring of a DEI facilitator to help our district structure our meetings and develop our plan. And that cost for our DEI facilitator was $12,450. And we had a second contract to do best practice work and individual district meetings with that facilitator. That was another $1,500 for a total of $13,950. Yes, Dr. Littman.
I've asked you that question before, and I thank you for the answer. But again, how do we decide on consultants along the way? And how do we, again, I work as a consultant to other states and other school districts, so I kind of.
On DEI?
No.
Oh, I was about to say, because you can give us a discount.
Oh, I do it for you guys for nothing.
Awesome. That's the best.
And it's funny, I'm on the presidential search committee at Buffalo State. We had some implicit bias training a few hours ago.
Awesome.
Yeah. But no, I guess the question relates to how do we decide, I know we bid out contracts for items we need. Do we bid out consulting contracts, or do we take, local people who are qualified to do the work?
Because
people ask that question, and
That's what we do. We take local people who are qualified to do the work. We may, from time to time, depending on when we advance our DEI work in the district, if we want to bring in some nationally recognized individuals. For example, one of the things that we're doing for our work over the summer and our administrator retreat is really reading the book Belonging Through a Culture of Dignity, the Crown Apple and Cobb book. And I know some districts locally have done that. So if they're going to bring in John Crown Apple, we may partner with those districts so that we're able to also participate in some of those trainings. But it's really looking at what the district needs, who's a specialist in those areas, and bringing those individuals in.
Yeah, and your point you just made is well taken, that we, as a district, work with consultants who've come from other places and shared the cost. I mean, the other thing I know we've done historically is used University of Buffalo people and
Absolutely. Oh, yes, absolutely.
Buffalo State people and you know,
Absolutely. Just like for the I forgot the name of the conference, but one of our parents, he's a new parent to the district because he was recruited by UB, Dr. LeGarrette King. He was recruited by UB, and so he may, in the future have references, or he may, want to do some training in the district.
Yes.
So we will use all of those resources. So thank you for that, Dr.
And then the other question relates to in the budget for next year, we have an increase of almost about 90,000 on the curriculum and staff development. Are we adding DEI type professional development for that cost? Are we adding, we don't have a breakdown on that specifically.
And I don't have it in front of me,
Okay.
but
I mean, it's something just to think about. Because
absolutely.
I skimmed through that before. I noticed that. Is that
Yeah, Mr. Matusky. Okay.
yeah. I would say, I brought with me one of these old books from 12. My old, the preliminary budget from 10 years ago. And it was a little bit different.
That's general contractual salary increases. $37,000 is for salary increases.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
no,
you
we
for that,
had
Mr.
some
Matusky.
Programs or professional development along the way.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I turn it back over to you, Dr. McCleary.
We are on 12C, the update on the status of the district technology implementation.
Absolutely. So in board docs, you will see 12C. We do, very similar to last year, have a report on the status of our district technology implementation. So we have several areas in that report. The first, ensuring that all students have access to a device for instructional learning. We have updates there, advancing instruction through the use of technology. We have an update there. Our infrastructure and security, we have an update there, really dealing with cybersecurity. And you go further down, we have a technology department staffing structure update. As you know, we hired a director of technology for the district last year. And so those updates are included in that 3-page document in board docs. So if anyone has any questions about that, feel free to ask at this time.
Yes, one question.
I want to thank Assistant Superintendent Matusky, Assistant Superintendent Scanzuzzo, and Assistant Superintendent Balin for staying on top of those technology pieces. Go ahead, Dr. Singh.
Does cybersecurity cover this, or is it some other category?
No, it does come under this. So you will see the update, Dr. Singh, when we talk about, I'm going back up. I believe it's number 3. Infrastructure, it's actually 2C, infrastructure and security. So it talks about our implementation, new cybersecurity measures using software and human resources. It's all outlined in there under the update.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
No further questions on that? Is there a motion to approve and adopt items 12D, the UPK sites for the 2023 through 2026 request for proposals, 12E, district safety plan, and 12F, the DEI plan as presented? Ms. Kazmarek-Bogner, second. Dr. Singh, any discussion?
So which numbers did you just state?
12D,
Yes.
which is, we are
Got
approving
that.
the UPK sites.
Yes.
12E, which is the district safety plan.
And 12F,
12F, which is approved.
doing all three of them together.
You
And I have
can,
comments on some of them, but you're lumping them all together.
No comment.
yes, that,
Yeah, yeah, you can still, after the motion, and you can still discussion and
you
comment.
definitely.
Yeah, but
any
I
discussion,
I guess
comment
I
you like,
what's that?
you can definitely.
Well, I know I can make comments, but I didn't. I mean, doing the three of them together was not what I was quite expecting. Whatever. Because you're asking us to vote on three separate items in one lump sum. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
That's exactly what was said, yeah.
We've done that in the past.
We have
Done it in the past, yeah.
not. I don't know. Well, I'm getting older.
But there's, again, there's.
Okay.
there-
Well,
As soon as we had a motion and a second under discussion, you can discuss any one of those items.
I would
that
like
you'd Like
to.
to discuss.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
So-
I wanted to talk a bit about approving and adopting the DEI plan, which I would like to say I cannot give my full support to based on what has been presented to us. Again, if you look at a plan is a detailed proposal for how you do something. A goal statement is a starting point. A goal and a goal statement leads to a plan or framework and a plan. So what we're seeing doesn't really do that. But then going back a bit, is the idea that we're having a 5-year plan, although it does say on the cover, it's a 1-year plan as compared to the Code of Conduct, which has a more inclusive, longer period of time. So I have an issue with the way it's presented. I have an issue with the fact that if it's a 5-year plan, it has no, metrics to measure. It has no days. It has no, what are we accomplishing in year 1? What's the year 2 accomplishments? What's the year 3? To say, here's a group of goals. We're going to spend the next 5 years doing them, to me means no accountability and no, it needs, in my mind, a better detailed plan and proposal. So, that's why I would not support that one part of it.
And may I?
Yeah.
And I appreciate that, Dr. Singh. But Dr. Singh, I'm sorry, Dr. Lippman.
I'm not
looking at you. I'm like,
handling it.
no problem. I do appreciate I do appreciate your feedback.
Yeah.
And I will say, with a plan that requires so much thought, so much work, we want to make sure that we have a starting point, right?
Yes.
And we will build upon the plan because now we have goal statements, we have goal activities. We'll be doing action planning with our DEI committees that we have set up at every school building, So we have a starting plan. We will be definitely enhancing the plan. We'll be giving the Board of Education updates, very similar to like we do, 2 times a year on our district goals. So I understand what you're saying also, and I appreciate you letting us know that, and I appreciate your work on the DEI plan too.
Yeah, I was going to say I served on that committee.
You did,
I saw it.
absolutely.
We worked on the area I worked on with a group of parents and teachers and administrators was student voice, and we made some changes.
Absolutely.
What was my other? I had one other point.
While you're thinking about it,
I
Dr. Singh
know.
has a question.
It's just the material, and not to be too critical of the state, but I look at the glossary of the terms they provide, which focus very heavily on racism, a little bit on gender, nothing about dealing with people with disabilities, nothing about religious backgrounds of people. We don't have, I mean, I would start off with definitions because again, somebody picking it up should know what we say is the definition of DEI without referring them to our policies or something else. So, some of it is we call that wordsmanship.
Wordsmithing?
Yeah, wordsmithing is some, but it's just, there's a lot of things there that are irrelevant or to me more ideological than they are instructional. If our board is supposed to focus on academic achievement, we talk about a DEI lens. For years, we spoke about how does any decision we make impact academic achievement? We know that there is no real good research data that says if you run a DEI program, your students will perform at higher levels academically. They'll be very satisfied. They'll be more satisfied because, as we all agree, students need to be included. They need to belong. So I just think our district in this plan can do a bit more and can do it a bit better. So that's my personal view.
Right. And no, I appreciate that. I appreciate your opinion. I wish we'd have got more of that during the 30-day comment period, but I do appreciate you voicing that right now.
Yeah, and again, thank all of the people who were involved.
Absolutely.
I want to just say, as a member of the DEI committee, it was never my understanding that that degree of specificity would be part of the plan that we were working on. We were providing basic goals, and that the building committees, the district committees, then would be fleshing that out more.
Yeah.
So, and I think we do have definitions in there. They do come from the policy, and that is all of a piece. So I think it's there. Is there more work to do? Absolutely.
Yeah.
A whole lot, much more work to be done.
New committee.
No, a lot of people on the committee do like the work they're doing and they want to continue.
No, so we have more work, more committee.
No, we don't need more committees.
Dr. Libet, I'll have to ask. You said you worked with the parents and the students closely, right, in the committee?
Say that again?
You said you worked with the parents and students closely in the committee, correct?
Parents and teachers.
Or teachers, okay. Yeah. What were their feelings on that? I mean, since you were there, so we can have an understanding.
Again, we worked on one discrete part of it.
So what was their one district feeling about that part?
Yeah, I'm happy with our part, but I'm not happy.
But I'm like, how did the parents and teachers feel about that part? Is what I mean.
We worked on it collaboratively. I made the changes and forwarded to.
Was it positive thoughts about the DEI? Was it?
Well, but we were only talking about one segment. There were subgroups of the committee. Each group was assigned a room to chat and work. As you see, there were some changes made because the committee wanted to have more clarity, but we had, no large input in another group area.
Just to clarify, though, that was so the last couple of committee meetings, every person was assigned to a goal area. They got to choose what goal area, and they worked on that the last couple of meetings. That is not how the entire committee was done. And every person in the DEI committee was able to comment on the other sections and provide feedback to the other sections. So I don't want to make it seem like individuals who worked on that section were only relegated to that section.
Yes, that's a good point.
Thank you.
Actually, all the 6 sections are in the board docs, if you want to see it there.
Oh, yes.
And I just wanted to say pretty much what Maureen said. Like when we formed the DEI committee at the district level, the plan was to create a general plan for the whole district. And most specifics would come from the school building-wide plan, where you would have what the schools are doing and probably what the end goal in 5 years would be. Our goal was never to have that specificity in our plan. So I think once we have the school-wide plan, which is customized to our schools, we'll have more tangible goals and tangible outcomes.
And the action steps, correct.
Yeah. Again, putting more burden on teachers and other people who will be responsible for putting all this together.
But
I think we
can't.
I'm sorry.
No. I'm sorry, because I don't want you, when you say the word burden, right,
burden,
it makes it seem
ability. I mean,
Oh, that's
Oh.
why they formed DEI committees, and no one was forced to be on a DEI committee.
yeah,
right?
but if
They,
you're,
a lot of people enjoy this work. They want to advance this work in the district, so it's not a burden.
Yeah.
In that sense.
yeah, I understand that, but I'm saying teachers will be, as a high school teacher, we had content areas and we taught in our area. And then the district could say, we want you to do this, this, and this. And to me, you could look at it, if you look at it in a diversity, different opinion, is that I'm a teacher in the classroom, I teach business. And I know in my business classes, you teach all of these type things, but to say, hey, I'm teaching mathematics, now I have to do it through a DEI lens. What does that mean? It just seems like it's
Well, not through a DEI lens.
Yeah,
right?
well,
So, right, but that's
Yeah,
why we took that DEI lens out in the revisions, as you saw, and that's why we work with our curriculum individuals, our directors, our teachers, to say, okay, how does DEI apply here? How does DEI apply there?
Yeah.
And that's important that we do it. It'll be important that you do it at the college level too. I remember looking at the ballots for the UUP, you were listed as one of the diversity people running, right? So it's important that you're going to have to do that at the college level too. So this might be a precursor or something that you could use there, Dr. Littman.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's for discussion.
I just wanted to say that I think it will come down to the building plans themselves, because Williamsville can't be viewed as a monolith. Each building's at a different place. And
Absolutely.
I think that I understand, Dr. Lehman, I understand your arguments, but I just think that you have to look at the individual buildings and their plans, because everyone's starting at a slightly different place and will end up in maybe in a slightly different place.
You have to, and that's how we make it age appropriate too. right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yes,
What's
yeah.
Because what we're
appropriate
gonna do
for
at the high school is going to be very different than what we do at the elementary. school.
appropriate for Global 10 is not necessarily appropriate for Global 9 or
Right.
U.S. history in 7th grade.
I believe Crystal had her hand up also. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
In terms of like the way I also look at it, if this plan was to move forward and be implemented, in my eyes as a board, we would oversee that good professional development is developed for each individual school, and kind of going back to what Dr. Singh was saying, like tailored to help those teachers, where it's not, oh, I have to teach it this way through DEI. It's getting professional development in a way that it's just comes naturally, which would help too, which maybe in my understanding is maybe why you don't want to hamper it by year one. We got to be here by year two. We have to be here. Just a thought as I was thinking about what you were saying, and like that's the oversight. What the board can do is making sure there's the correct professional development for the teachers, the support staff, including and not only limited to the teachers. As a thought.
Mr. Bueller?
I just wanted to add, I think that's the most crucial part of this whole plan is the staff development, because you have to get the buy-in from the staff and have them have the ability to do what we're asking them to do. If we don't give them the appropriate professional development, they're not going to be able to do what we want them to do in the best practices. And so that piece, I think, is the most crucial. That will affect the students the most.
All right.
May I ask Dr. Littman then, are you still interested in removing 12F from the consent?
Yes, if we could vote on that separately, I would prefer that, please.
Could I have a motion then to remove item 12F from the consent? We don't need a motion, we can just remove it? All right. So, at this point, the motion on the floor is to approve and adopt items 12D, the UPK sites for the 2023 through 26 request for proposals, and 12E, the district safety plan. Any further discussion on those two items? All in favor? Carried unanimously. In terms of item 12F, the DEI plan as presented. Do I have someone who will motion to approve? Ms. Poulin. Second, Dr. Singh. Any further discussion?
I just want to thank my colleagues for having the discussion and looking at that topic. again. So thank you all.
All in favor? Opposed? Thank you. Motion carries.
7-1.
Voted for.
Voted no.
Yeah, 7-1.
Yes,
7-1.
7-1. Thank you. Item 13. Is there a motion to approve items 13A, the proposed 2023-24 budget, including the budget notice and property tax report card, 13B, annual internal audit report, 13C, district's Medicaid compliance program, 13, that was C, I'm sorry, 13D, property tax settlement and transfer amount from tax reserve, and 13E, budget transfer as presented. Again, these are put together because they are similar topics. A motion? Ms. Kazmarek Bogner. Second, Mr. Bulin. Any discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. F. Are there any questions or comments from the audit committee regarding the plan prior to approval? We're talking about the corrective action plan. Anyone have any questions or comments? May I have a motion to approve the Williamsville Central School District Correction Action Plan as presented? Dr. Singh. Second, Ms. Blackinger. Any discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Item 14, liaison reports. The list of assignments and meeting dates are in board docs. Does anyone need coverage for any meeting? Does anyone have anything else to report under liaison assignments? Thank you. Item 15, district facilities and support services. Is there a motion to approve items 15A, repair reserve work contracts, and 15B, capital project change order for Forest Elementary School as presented? Motion? Ms. Poulin, second. Dr. Singh, any discussion? All in favor? Thank you. Carried unanimously. There are no matters to discuss under legislative, curriculum, personnel, or special needs and student activities. Item number 20, under our committee of the whole. Does anyone have any item to discuss under the committee of the whole? Mr. Bulin.
I have a question / comment, and I don't know if it's possible. As part of the special ed audit, is it possible to do a survey of every parent who has a special ed child or with an IEP in the district to get their feelings on what's going on in special ed? Because I know they're going to meet with some parents, but should we not get the broadest perspective on this?
Go ahead.
And
we did have that indicator 8 this year was sent out to every family member who has a student with a disability or an IEP, I should say, in the district to respond. And we'll get the results of that sometime this summer from Potsdam when they tally and collect all the information and data.
Are there any other questions or discussion areas for committee of the whole?
This other item.
I know.
Okay. You gonna bring it
No.
up?
Diploma. Who put that on?
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah. I have another question.
Yes.
I'm full of questions today. Is it possible to investigate whether someone can hand, a board member can hand a diploma to someone who is not their child,
Child.
or a nephew or a close family friend. Is there a board policy? What is the story on that, and how does that work?
And I went to one of our district historians, Assistant Superintendent Matursky, said there really is no policy on that. You know, being a board member, you always had the privilege of handing it out to your child or your grandchild. And so I don't know that there's any policy on that. And that's why it's great, because I know this was brought up for the agenda planning also. So I think this is a board discussion matter. So I will leave it to the board. I know Mr. Biscaglia has his hand up for input.
I just know previously there has been times where they have done that. I mean, me personally, I'm just, I don't know how anyone else feels with that. I know it's done and been done in the past.
Oh,
Dr. Lippman.
having older children, I did hand out a diploma to my son. And I would say, just for the logistics of it, usually when it's your own child or somebody you want to be there for, you're on the stage. And the way the procedure works, it works pretty quickly. So, you can integrate, because we're all, as board members in the end, shaking hands. It's easy to integrate, just swapping the line. I think one of my favorite pictures that I have of my time on the board is handing a diploma to my son, besides all of us in a group photo.
Again,
It's not, yeah, I'm sorry. I think the question is a discussion, if I may interject, is about doing, because I also had the pleasure of handing out a diploma. But I think two things, that happened back when it was the generality that almost all board members showed up at a graduation. And I believe now and I don't know if it was a COVID thing or still whatever, but it tends to have one or two board members at each graduation as opposed to 5 or 6, but I'm sidetracking. So I think the discussion is whether we have viewpoints on whether an individual board member can agree to or accept a request from a friend, a neighbor, who would like them to also hand out, if I'm stating it correctly.
Yeah.
So a non-relative is what you're saying?
No. Well, yeah, a relative and a non-relative.
I mean, if it has happened before, I don't see why we cannot do it again. That's my opinion.
I mean,
I think if it's a mutually agreed upon thing that the recipient as well as the person who's handing out the diploma agree on that, I don't have any problem with that. The matter of comfort level and making it a special occasion for sure.
I mean, kind of like procedural. If you're, just gonna give this example because it's happening. Your nephew's graduating from East this year, and you work it out with, superintendent and principal at that particular school. I wouldn't see why it's an issue if you're going to be there anyways. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't.
I mean, you'd have to know before. You don't want to just turn up on stage and be like, hey.
Wait a minute.
Look what I got.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
Yeah. So we want to make sure that the person would be on the stage for that diploma and for all of them, but you would only hand out that one. So.
No, any other questions or comments on that particular topic? It's not a voting item and it's not a policy, but what I'm hearing, it sounds like each individual board member has the ability to proceed at whatever level they feel comfortable with. Am I accurate? Okay. Anyone else have anything for committee of the whole?
Unless Dr. Brownhill, the principals would have a.
Good question.
I doubt it. Our principals are very appreciative when board members come to the graduation. So I don't think so. It's just a matter of, I think Dr. Lippman even said, board members are usually on stage and they're shaking hands anyway. So just a simple swipe out, hand diploma, get back in line. I don't think so. I believe Mr. Bulin wanted to bring it up because he wanted the board to be aware and have discussion at the board table. I don't think the principals will have a problem with it.
Thank you for that comment, too. I hadn't thought about that piece. Anything else for committee of the whole? Okay. We received correspondence regarding Heim Elementary and Heim Middle School summer construction and the playground, summer camp air conditioning, and green school initiatives. Does anyone else want to speak on any correspondence? Thank you. Our next board meeting, yes.
I meant to say this under acknowledgements, but I missed that. I just wanted to wish our local community who are observing Ramadan to a very happy Eid, as they say, Eid Mubarak on Thursday and Friday.
Yes, thank you for adding that. Our next board meeting is the special board meeting and budget hearing on May 4th. And after that meeting will be the PTSA Candidates Night. And May 16th is the annual budget vote and board member election at North High School from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. Is there a motion to adjourn the regular board meeting? Ms. Poulin, second. Dr. Singh, all in favor? Carried unanimously. We are